Hey everyone, it's Wendy Hutchinson with Alinea Life Coaching and my show, Path of Me. I've been feeling that a lot of people around me, actually knowing that a lot of people around me are going through some really tough things in their lives, myself included. And what it feels like is people are experiencing things that are emotionally triggering them in such a powerful way. It's almost like your deepest vulnerability is being churned up by something that's happening in your life, whether it's a divorce, the death of somebody you love, realizing that you don't have control over the people around you or your circumstances, or feeling that way, if control is your thing. So that can trigger a lot of emotion. Or maybe you're going through a transition. Maybe you're bringing in, maybe somebody in your life is sick and you've taken on a caregiver role. Or maybe somebody that you've been caring for is transitioning and passing away. And so after identifying with that reality and that role for so long, you don't know who you are. Basically, a lot of people around me are going through a lot of shit. So I wanted to get on and just share some of the tools that I use when I'm going through something really difficult, and hopefully they'll help you. So my first and most important tool is I become an observer of my feelings. Because when you are just experiencing your feelings and they're uncomfortable, everybody tends to turn to something. Instead of going inward and really sitting in the fire, so to speak, and being in the space of observation and feeling the emotions, people want to run from them or numb out so they don't feel them. And it's a totally normal response. It's a stress response that pretty much everybody I know participates in. So one of the tools that I use is I become an observer of what I'm feeling, which means I have to sit in a quiet space. I have to allow myself to create a quiet space, and I have to be present to what I'm feeling. And that can be really difficult for people who aren't used to sitting with their emotions and processing what they're feeling. But it's really an important step in transcending and releasing the suffering. So step number one is to really observe your thoughts and emotions, and to do that without judgment. So whatever I'm feeling, I allow to come up, and I don't judge myself for it. I don't criticize myself for feeling anxious or stressed or overwhelmed or whatever the feeling might be. I observe it. I observe it from a third-party perspective, like I'm watching TV. So there's a separation from myself feeling the emotions and then my consciousness observing what I'm feeling. So that's step number one. And the second thing that I do is, if other people are involved, and usually there are other people involved, I allow them to be where they are and to do what they're doing. So when we're in a space of deep suffering, in addition to detachment, I definitely find myself having to really practice a lot of self-care, basically. And self-care means sometimes you have to say no to obligations and honor yourself, which means you want to show up for somebody else, but the person you need to show up for is yourself. So sometimes really important events or responsibilities come up, and you're going to have to say no, and you're going to have a choice around it, to feel guilty around it, and have an understanding that actually you have to make yourself a priority sometimes, And I've had to do that. I had to not show up when I really felt like I should for certain individuals that are going through difficult times, because I was going through my own stuff. And sometimes you have to put your oxygen mask on first. So I recognized that, and that's what I did. And I didn't judge myself for it. And in fact, I honored the fact that I made that choice. Because if we don't take care of ourselves, we are no good to anybody around us. You know, I have a family of care, like, fixers. Okay, my boys are very nurturing and caring. My husband is very nurturing and caring, and they want to help everybody in the world. And you can't. You can't do that if you don't help yourself first. If you're not in a healthy place, emotionally, physically, mentally, you're not going to be able to show up for people as your highest and best. And you can have a far greater impact on people if you show up whole and complete yourself. So the first thing is to detach and observe your emotions and allow them to come up in whatever way they need to express. And it's very difficult to observe them without being in them. So I'm going to encourage you to be kind to yourself through the process. Cry if you need to cry. Rage if you need to rage. Just be present to it and allow whatever you're feeling to come out, because it needs to. It's kind of like almost like a pimple that's coming to a head, and you just need to pop it and let it all come out. Suppressing it is only going to delay your process and your suffering. So that's important. Self-care is important. Another thing that I've been doing a lot of is being very intentional about not judging myself and how I'm responding to what's happening in my life. We are all our worst critics. We're terrible. We're terrible to ourselves. There's a mental tape that is constantly telling us, you're not doing enough. You're not showing up. You're a piece of shit. Whatever the story is, you're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You're not enough. And we need to stop that. I'm telling you, stop it. Observe your thoughts and be aware of how often you are sabotaging yourself with negative self-talk, because that is not serving you at all. So I have spent many, many years completely changing that story. It is so rare that I mentally beat myself up anymore. I'm on my own team all the time. And I do not allow myself to go into a space of victim mindset, self-pity, self-doubt. I just don't allow it. It doesn't serve me, and it doesn't serve you either. So stop the negative self-talk. That's huge. And the final thing that I want to share with you is to allow everybody around you to be who they need to be. We have no control over anybody around us. You can beg, you can plead, you can cry, you can try to buy an outcome that makes you feel comfortable for the people around you. It's not going to work. You have zero control over the decisions and behaviors of anybody around you. You have 100% control over yourself and your responses and how you decide you are going to handle the situation. So, my final suggestion is to step back. And when I say step back, I mean step all the way back. Way back. Because we need to allow everybody to live their life, even if it feels unhealthy, or even if it doesn't align with your perspective around how people should live their lives and what their outcomes should look like. We need to detach and give everybody the grace to rise or fall on their own. So that's my last suggestion for you. All of those are really hard to do, by the way. They sound so simple, detachment, self-care, observing the negative self-talk, and the final one, allowing people to be who they are. Man, I think I should create a course around that because it's so hard. It's so freaking hard. Anyways, I wish you all luck. If you are interested in, getting support through this process, contact me. I'm going to put my email and my website address down below. I'd love to work with you if this is something you feel might be too challenging to navigate alone, because it's a tough process to navigate life's challenges when you are alone. It's really tough. So if you feel called to, let's connect. I'd love to hold space for you. I've done a lot of this work myself, so I can help you find your way and navigate your way through it, Experience is really helpful. So anyway, I love y'all. Thanks for taking a few minutes to listen to me. I hope that some of these suggestions helped. And be kind to yourselves. You deserve it. You're worthy of love and happiness. And sometimes we have to go through really challenging times and really own our feelings and process our feelings and release them to elevate who we are and find inner peace, Anyways, I love y'all. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.